Hey everybody, welcome to Two Comic Book Dudes. Tonight we have a very special guest with us. My name's Aaron Clutter. I'm editor-in-chief of Comic Booked. As you can tell, we're affiliated with Comic Booked. It's all around us here. With me, as always, Justin Paget, one of our staff writers. And with us tonight to talk about Sons of the Devil is Brian Buccellato. Sons
Hello
of the
there.
Devil #1 comes out this week, right? So just some great stuff. We're going to talk about the story, talk about the art, just talk about the craziness that is the story. So,
It's a
all
little
right, let me
dark.
bring up. Yeah, it's all right. It's an Image comic. It's supposed to be dark, right?
See, yeah.
All right. So, Sons of the Devil #1. We both had a chance to read it ahead of time, so we could, actually ask intelligent questions. But
Those are the
it's
best
definitely.
kinds. Yeah.
Oh, well, we try. Sometimes it degrades by the end of the show, but we try to start out intelligent sounding. um, but really a good book. I mean, I always try to pick up any first issues from Image anyway, just to make sure I'm staying up with the stuff that's coming out. But this one I heard about several months ago actually, and had on my pull list. So I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it
Yeah,
on
pull
Wednesday.
list.
Yeah, they are
Pull list
awesome.
good. Yeah.
I never used to even do that. Like I used to get comics all the time when I lived in North Carolina. I had a shop that I went to there, and they're like, well, instead of just coming in every week and picking stuff off the shelf, you can get stuff. We'll hold it for you. And I was like, really? That's awesome. So that
Well,
was like a new thing for me.
do your viewers know how important it is, especially for creator-owned and independent, for you to put the books that you like onto a pull list? Because that's
Well,
how the retailers know what to order, how many to order. Like a lot of times they can get cut short or not order as much as they would sell because people aren't saying, hey, I want that, so pull it for me. So it really helps indie creators if you add stuff to your pull list like in advance. Give the retailers every chance to order enough.
Right.
yeah, for sure.
It's a great message.
Yeah,
If you're reading a book you like, make sure you tell your shop you want it on your pull list. That way you don't
yep,
have to worry about it later on.
yep.
Right, that's my PSA. Yeah.
That's good though.
Awesome.
But I'll tell you that is one of the things I've run into a lot of times is I'll hear about a book and I'll be like, I'm not going to put it in my pull. I'm just going to go get the first issue. Well, then by the time you're picking up the first issue, they've already ordered for the second, maybe for the third issue,
Right.
and you may not
Right.
get it because if they didn't think
And
that enough people were going to buy #1, they're not going to buy any #2.
well, there's also a worst case scenario in that if they're ordering twos and threes, they may not order enough, and if enough stores don't order it, then the book will get canceled before it's time. So, I mean, that's also a
Exactly.
tough
Yep.
thing.
Yeah. And that's awful when you get into that first issue and you go, this is great. Where's #2? Oh, they just decided not to make one. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty awful for
No,
creators too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
there have been some really good books that I've picked up that the word just didn't get out, and I mean that's what we're here for. We want to make sure the word gets out, not just for the big books that are out, but for the indie creators and the creator-owned stuff, because really this is the heart and soul of comics. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Batman, Superman, X-Men, all those guys, but this is the stuff that keeps the industry going. I mean, it really is.
Well, it's definitely a mine for all kinds of great ideas. I mean, it's a platform that we haven't really had before to this level. So I think it's really awesome. Like I read quite a few Image books, and I'm shocked at the quality sometimes.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. It's changed even just in the last few years. I mean, I know like 3 years ago, I moved to Maryland and my local shop, I started going there about 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. And just from the time I started going, the Image has changed so much. And they had a few good books there then to start, but I mean, these last few years have just been amazing with creator-owned stuff coming out. And I think too, the internet has had a lot to do with that because it's so much easier
Right.
to get the word out and to promote your stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
So well, let's talk about the book. So
All right.
we're dealing with some issues here too, right? I mean, main character is an orphan, and
Right.
before we do that, let's talk about Toni Infante's stuff. His artwork in this is just amazing. You can see
Yes.
from the cover, I love the lines. That's one of the things that I really liked about this, and I tend to look at that detail and see how things are drawn and how the lines go. And there's times when those lines are just like you talked about before we started. The energy is there. It's just such a powerful,
Right.
it's just such a powerful art. It's really great.
Well, here's something crazy is that he's like fully digital. Like,
Oh wow!
There's no, that's all digital.
I would have never guessed that.
No, I never would have noticed that.
I think when in the trade, I'm probably going to publish some of his quote unquote pencils, because they're not really pencils. Like it's all grayed in, and like he's blocked out where he's going to put light. Like it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, what you can do with a tablet or one of those type of things, it's pretty amazing. Even like Francis Manipul, when we work on Detective, he draws and pencils everything digitally, but then he prints it out and inks it and does the ink wash traditionally. Like even Francis, who's like as mighty as they come, he still ends with he ends with traditional. Although I do have a feeling that before all is said and done, he might go fully digital. I mean, the good thing about inking, penciling, and then inking it yourself is you have an original that you can keep. I mean, the one thing that Tony doesn't have is he doesn't have an original piece of art.
Yeah. That's amazing. I never would have thought, looking at this, that it's digital. There's times when you look at something, you can definitely tell that they did that on the computer, and there was nothing really by hand. But this is cool. It's amazing the level of technology. Oh yeah.
And he's never done American work before. Like I found him online. I mean, I've never spoken to him. I've never seen him. Like we've only had communication via the internet. Like that's cool. The kind of world we live in, that I can reach. I can see somebody's portfolio online, reach out to them, and that person will agree to work with me, and then like produce some of the most amazing work that I've seen. I mean, wow. And to be honest with you, issue 1 is his quote unquote worst issue. Like issues 2, 3, and 4 are better. He's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Awe, honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because we talked to a guy last week. We interviewed a guy with another book, and he was at Denver Comic-Con this weekend. But he was telling me that he's got a guy from India who's doing artwork on his book, and so it's the same kind of thing. Communicating with him over online and probably by telephone, and that's it. It's not like they meet together in the same room and go over stuff. It's definitely a different world. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great way to for there's a diversification of the industry there. So
I mean, with Francis is in Toronto, and I used to speak to him every single day. Like I would feel like he's here. So when I would see him at cons, it's not like I would feel like I hadn't, it wasn't like, hey, I haven't seen you, buddy, in a long time because I saw you 7 times last week on Skype. So technology helps quite a bit, man.
That's
pretty
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. So let's get into the story. We start right off with this book. In just the first couple pages, we see a whole room full of bassinets and a bunch of babies, and looks like somebody's trying to kidnap them. So that just starts off as definitely a dark kind of story. Not to mention the clubbing to death of the foster parent there or whatever. But it leads into a story of an orphan who has tried to find his past and has pretty much just given up. He's he realizes he's kind of alone in the world, and he just wants to be left that way. But he's got a buddy who doesn't want to leave things alone, and tries to lead him towards maybe finding his parents. But the whole idea, Sons of the Devil, it kind of goes along with an orphan's worst nightmare. And I'll let you talk about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, Travis is an orphan who has serious abandonment issues. Obviously, having had a rough upbringing in the foster care system, he hasn't adjusted. Those feelings are deeply rooted in who he is. So, wanting to find out who his family is at the core of his being, and a former foster brother named Clay, who you mentioned before, finds a photo that. Of a man, it's a 30-year-old photo. The man looks just like him, and they both share this genetic defect, which gives them one red eye. And so that sort of opens the door to our story. I don't want to spoil too much, but what happens with Travis, it's not good. I mean, it's sort of akin to what if you were an orphan and one day you found out that your dad was Charles Manson? Like, what would that do to you? Like, that's the level of. It's called Sons of the Devil for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, like you said, we're not going to spoil anything, but I'll tell you that last panel of this first book was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. It's definitely
Yep.
an intense
Well, thank you.
story, and excellent. So
Yeah, the last page, you want to keep going and saying, maybe there's one more page. There's got to be one more page. I got to see the next page.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also a short film that we did because it originally started as a Kickstarter. So for those of you who have watched the short film, it's already kind of spoiled. If you haven't watched the short film, I would at least read issue 1 before you watch the short film because the short does end up taking through events that happen all the way through issue 3. So
Oh, wow.
if you wanted to find out more, you guys can now go watch the short. It's online. If you do a search for Sons of the Devil on Vimeo, you'll find it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put a link. We're going to have this video hosted in an article or embedded into an article on our site.
Awesome.
So I'll put a link to the video there as well, so that everybody can click
Yeah,
through
I
and
mean
watch it.
the short film came out really good. It's only 12 minutes, so it's not going to take a lot of your time to watch. But I'm pretty proud of all the work we did.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great. Cool. All right. Well, Sons of the Devil comes out Wednesday this week. Be sure that you go let your local comic shop know that you want that on your pull list. It's awesome stuff, and we look forward to at least 4 more issues now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
4 issues.
I'm doing at least 10. I'm doing at least 10. Come hell or high water,
Awesome.
I'm going to do at least 10. It'll be at least 2 trades. If you guys really like it and you all put it on your pull list, and we're fortunate enough to be around, I see it going at least 36 issues. Like I can tell
Awesome.
that much story. There's a lot going on, and there are more than there's more than one baby, as we spoke about earlier. So
right. Yeah, we know it.
To go.
We know at least 2 because they say take them out 2 at a time. So,
right.
But yeah, it looks like there were quite a few in there. So.
There's 9 babies, and they all have their own story, and they all have their own past, and they're linked by this event that you see on the opening pages.
Cool. So is the intent then of the story to kind of cover each baby in preceding issues, or what's
Well, Travis
is
the main character. He's the main character. Okay. So we're gonna see. He is our point of view character. He is the sort of hero of the story. We will end up meeting all 9, and I think we'll get to learn all about them. I definitely am going to have a lot of flashbacks. So you will learn, what happened to them and their upbringing and what brought them into the mix. So, each character, sort of comic book gods willing, will be explored fully.
Cool.
But Travis is our main guy. And thematically, the story thematically is about Travis learning the lesson that biology is not as important as the family you choose. So that's kind of his big lesson that he has to learn.
Cool. Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump over to ways that people can stalk you. So we wanted to include any ways that they can get out there and follow you online, whether through Twitter, with sonsofthedevil.com. It's a website that will have all of the updates on this book and your coming appearances and signings. They can catch you on Facebook as well. I just friended you, so you can go ahead and approve that.
I will do that.
Then we've got, awesome. Then you're going to be at several conventions over the next few months: Phoenix Con, Amazing Houston Con, of course, San Diego Comic Con, and then New York. So that'll they can hunt you down at each of those.
Yeah, happy fun times.
I'm
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going to say that the book comes out Wednesday. I'm signing it at 3 stores on Wednesday in the Los Angeles area. You can check sonsofthedevil.com to find out where those are. And then over the next couple of months, I'm going to be going to San Francisco and Las Vegas and find some other stores to do some signings at, because
awesome.
That the sort of grassroots effort is really important when you're launching a creator-owned book and meeting the people and getting them on your side. And,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
so
fun.
It's
also fun.
If you want to come out to Maryland, my local shop has 3 stores, so you can make the rounds out here. Yeah.
Well, have them contact me.
I will.
And find out how many they ordered.
Yeah, I'll definitely ask John. Yeah. John's the owner. I'll ask him because he likes when I pick on him. So, all right, cool.
Sounds
well,
good.
Let me jump out of here. And any plans on having like any special covers for the conventions? I know sometimes they do that. I don't know if that's anything you thought about.
Well, I think. I got an email from Image that they don't really want to focus on special covers for individual issues, like retailer exclusives or anything. I think that they're going to be focusing more on special covers for the trade.
Okay.
That said, I do have a bunch of variants lined up for the first 5 issues. I've got a Cliff Chang cover. I've got
nice.
a Ramon Perez is doing a cover.
Cool.
Dustin Francis did one for issue 1 along with Paulo Rivera, and then Francis
nice.
is going to do another one. Yeah, it's good to have friends.
Yeah.
And then Paulo Rivera is going to. I mean, then Francis is going to do another one for issue 5. So
Cool.
I'm trying to find, and Rod Reese, who is the artist on my buddy Kyle's book Cowl. He did one for issue 2, and I also have a Bill Sienkiewicz cover for issue 2.
Nice.
So I've got some cool ones lined up. And it's not one of those things where you have to.
Cool.
It's not one of those things where you have to buy a certain number to get that special cover. I think you can order them. Retailers can order A, B, or C cover in however many quantities they want.
Oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just to give more choices for the retailers.
That's cool. I know several of the ones I've seen over the last few months have done that, where they'll put out 2 covers or 3 covers, and they're all kind of in the same allocation. So that's nice. It's nice not to have to fight for that one extra one,
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that said, there is a specialty cover for issue 1 because I started this with Kickstarter, so they get their own cover. So I only
nice.
I think like 500 of this one cover by Sia who has a book from Aspen called Lola, and so she did the cover for the Kickstarter, and so that's kind of the rare one. But I had to do something for all the backers, like they supported me before Image was on board, so they get the sort of rare cover.
Definitely
cool. That's awesome. All right. Well, anything else you want to say about this, or any upcoming projects that you're working on?
Obviously I'm still working on Detective Comics. That's fun. As always, Batman or not Batman or